Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Frozen Frontier. Sort of.
Welcome back. All right, it's time to get on the road.
Yes, indeed. Your potential father-in-law is going to take you down to Bondundasir the next day. Well, it'll probably take you 2 days to get there. Stop off in Solwick and then get to Bondundasir to catch a ship to head over to Pernissus to pick up a series of goods, and then head to Bontheris north of that. Let me try and show chat where these things are. Pernissus over here. Come on, ping. And then Bondundasir or Bontheris up to here, and then down and over to Stoneport. That's the pattern that they're going to go in, and then.
Sorry, I see Bontheris and Stoneport. Where's the Penrith place? Pernissus, that I see down.
Pernissus is right here. It's just due east of you.
And where are we getting the ship from?
From Bondundasir in the south.
Okay, so we're walking all the way back down here. Ship to Pernissus, Bontheris, and what? And then a ship to Stoneport.
Yep, same ship from Bondundasir to Pernissus to Theris to Stoneport. And then, depending on how things go, maybe a stop at Bon May before you arrive back in Bondundasir.
All right. Why not?
Your father-in-law has a carriage for you guys to ride to Bondundasir. It's a fairly nice carriage, comfortable on the inside, well maintained and cleaned on the outside, but not overly fancy. Like nice woodwork, but no precious metals used in any trappings or trappings.
All right. No Jeeves.
No, there is a driver, but he's not Jeeves. It's a young woman.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys don't even get introduced.
Yeah, I don't ride in carriages often, but I try and sort of keep that to myself.
Yeah. It's it's a bumpy ride. They haven't invented shock absorbers yet. So you feel every bump on the road, but the cushions are like thick, so that's a little bit more dulled.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry.
It's all right. Late night of Heroes of the Storm for you, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So I don't think there's anything important on the way to Bondundasir. You guys can stop off in Solwick, where one of the servants will take your horse to be taken back to your family's house, so that your horse is taken care of. And then you go to Bondundasir the next day.
All right. I assume I've been here before as well.
Yeah, you have been. Richard takes you down to the docks there and shows you to the ship that will be carrying you guys around. It is called the Fat Lady.
Fat Lady.
It is the Fat Lady. Yep.
Okay. Let's hope she doesn't sink.
No, quite light. Never sink on anyone, as long as you keep her close to the coast.
I said sink, but yes, let's hope it doesn't sink either.
Yes, well, that would be much worse.
Yeah.
So, I have a small confession to make to you. I wasn't entirely forthright with you about this journey. I do indeed want to get to know you better. That is most certainly true. But the reason we're going on this particular journey is the last time I was in Pernissus, someone tried to have me killed.
I see.
And if we're going to be going back, I need to go back to do business. And I would like to have someone a little more trustworthy on hand in case the assassins pop up again.
Saw yourself a royal escort.
Well, let's just say an opportunity presented itself to kill two birds with one stone. I get to properly test the mettle of my potential future son-in-law and get to maintain my own personal health and well-being.
Well, the crown doesn't usually lend its swords to protect the interests of merchants, but given that we're to be family, I suppose I could make an exception.
Of course, and the crown is hardly covering your costs or expenses here, and I see you as a free agent in this situation.
I nod. Very well. Who is this man who attempted to have you killed?
I don't know.
Ah.
Dagger in an alley narrowly missed my organs, they say. Never did catch the guy. Don't know who he was working for, but I have my suspicions.
Well, let's try and not cause any trouble while we're there. Hopefully we'll pass through peacefully, but I shall keep you safe.
Thank you. Thank you, my son. And you guys hop on a boat and make your way up to Bondundasir, which you can do in a single day. It's not a terribly long voyage. The fat lady is a coaster, so that means she isn't really steep sea worthy.
Yeah.
She's got to keep the coast in sight. That's the name, coaster.
Okay.
And you guys arrive in Pernissus that evening. As the boat is pulling up to the docks, you notice he gets a spyglass out from one of the cupboards in the quarters, and kind of takes a careful look at the docks. The ship is coming in. Satisfied, he closes it and hands it back to one of the other sailors and says, "It looks like the docks are clear. I'm never going to forget that man's face."
Let me speak to the dockmaster before you leave. I head off the boat and go and speak to the guy running the dock.
Sure. The harbor master is there. She's a middle-aged woman, kind of short in stature, like 4'10", so quite short. And's got like a little stool to bring her up to everyone else's level while she jots in a journal and marks down what ships are coming in and who's on them and whether they've been inspected or not, and whether they paid their fees or not, etc., etc.
All right. I say to her, good afternoon. My name is Cal William Marshall, under the authority of the Princess of Sulwick. I'm here escorting Master Richard, the merchant from Thickleglade. We're docking on the Fat Lady. And
she gives you a curtsy and nods and makes some notes very quickly. Wonderful.
And I hand her a few coins and I say, I trust we'll be having no trouble in town.
Trouble?
It's safe this time of year, is it?
She nods. We rarely have trouble down here. A few dock rats every now and then. She gives you a meaningful look. But they're mostly kept in check. It's been a while since we've had any real trouble on the docks.
Very well. If you do find people asking for us, please seek me out.
She nods slowly. Will you be staying on the ship or at an inn in town?
I'm not sure. Check with the ship. There should be someone around.
She nods. And yeah.
All right.
Back to the ship?
Yeah, so I'm trying to preempt any trouble, right? But
prevention's worth a pound of cure.
I head back and say, I've paid our docking fees. Richard, let's make landfall.
Generous spirit, too. You'll make a fine addition to the family. Or, should I say, my daughters will earn a good husband.
Indeed. It's a shame I can't marry them both.
I would love to have them both off of my hands, but I don't think that would be quite proper.
No, likely not.
Okay. So, you guys head into town,
Okay.
and he immediately begins to steer you away from the center of town. He says, my business contacts here live north side. We like to keep some of our bigger, more important trade deals a little bit away from prying eyes. You know how delicate business can be.
I can imagine. I trust that it's all above board.
He turns his head and does not really understand. What do you mean?
I'm jesting with you, Richard, and I slap him on the back. And I want to keep an eye out. Like, it sounds like he's leading me away into like the slums, the dodgy part of town.
No, not quite the slums. It's just closer to farmland.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
kind of like more towards the edge of town. There's a little house. It's not quite a manor, but it's bigger than most of the other houses around. It's got a little stone wall and a garden and everything. It all looks on the up and up, but it's just out of the middle of town.
Yeah, that's fine. I guess something I'd like to keep an eye out is if he's making, like, if he's doing illegal trade in anything, or if he's doing anything against the law. I'd like to know.
No.
Okay.
So he brings you into this house where there's a bit of a warm reception from the folks there. You notice no servants, but various family members who greet him with open arms and big clasps on the back. Mead gets passed around very quickly. You get introduced to a dozen people whose names you're not going to remember one way or the other.
Yeah.
And get sat down at a table where there is already food served. It looks like you've interrupted their dinner and they've just brought you on in.
Okay.
The person you're meeting with here is a woman by the name of Nancy.
Okay. Nancy.
And she and Richard immediately delve into this conversation about a trade deal between their two trading companies and how they're going to handle the Matava end of a trade route. I think for William, this is probably a fairly dull conversation.
Yeah, I try and maintain a look of interest, but I sit quietly. I wait for him to finish his business.
Right. So it seems like both of them have been trading with Matava, and their competing against each other has been hurting their profit margins, and so they're here to make a deal that one person will do that leg of the run and the other person will take over a different leg of a different run, and they'll sort of like work together in like a vertically integrated I don't want to say economy, but vertically integrated business, almost like almost as if they're joining to make one, but they're kind of keeping a little bit of separation here.
A joint venture.
Thank you. A vertically integrated joint venture that will eliminate competition and increase profits for everyone involved.
All right, great. I mean, that sounds fine to me.
There are no anti-monopoly laws or antitrust laws at this time in the world, so it's totally legit.
Yeah. All right. I just sort of look around the house. Do these people look as rich as Richard?
No, definitely not. Or at least they're not displaying it. But partway through dinner, one of the people in the house comes over and whispers next to Richard and Nancy something to both of them. And Richard leans over, kind of tapping on your elbow, and says, "There's someone outside walking around the wall of the house, looking over the wall. Do you think, Mr. Knight, you could take care of this for us? See what's going on?"
Of course, yes. That's it's more than fine. I step away, relieved to get a break from the talk of business, and I grab my sword that I leant against the wall and attach it to my belt in its sheath, of course. And I head out of the door and start wandering around the walls of the property.
All right. Sure enough. Well, actually, give me a perception check, an opposed perception check.
Is my perception better than it is in the real game? I mean, probably not.
No, your perception should be the same.
Well, I just thought maybe, because I'm not as old, my eyesight's better.
You're not old enough to take stat penalties yet, so.
But I get a 25, so that's pretty good.
Nice. That's much nicer than what they get. And you step out through the front gate quietly, and immediately see someone's back to you, going kind of like the edge of the wall and turning around to going counterclockwise.
So he's like walking around the wall, and I'm catching up to him. All right, so I'm not sure how quiet I can be, so I just pick up the pace, but I'm not running. I'm still walking, and I try and catch up with this person.
Sure. You get to the corner and look around and see this figure dressed in kind of dark browns, partway up this wall, which is maybe like 8 feet high enough that you can't see in, but not so high you can't climb it, and also not of like castle finish, just kind of like lumpy rocks. This person's climbed up a little bit and is peering over the wall just, at eye level, looking into the garden, and from there you can see through the windows into the well-lit house.
Can I get up behind him without him noticing?
That would be like a dex check versus their perception.
I mean, I want to just pull him down off the wall, onto his back.
Right. The person's still 30 feet down the wall from where you're standing. So there's a good chance that they'll spot you if you try and sneak up on them.
The alternative being to just make a charge.
Or whatever else you want.
Okay, I guess rather than sneak up on him, I'll just keep walking towards him. And if he stops and sees me and attempts to run, I mean, I don't know. Tell me what happens.
The figure doesn't. No, they don't notice you coming. They keep their eyes on the house.
Okay. So I get behind him then, and I'll just grab him by the waist. Is it stone on the floor or is there grass?
It's grass.
Alright, so I grab him by the waist and fling him down off the wall onto his back.
As the body goes down, hits the ground, you see a flash of light as a dagger gets drawn from a belt.
Alright. I mean, if I see it, let's roll initiative.
Alright. I think that's definitely what this is. You toss this person onto the ground, they hit with a thud that kind of turns into a bit of a roll, and in a moment they're back up on their feet with a 4 for initiative.
Oh, he's already on his feet.
Well, I mean, he passed his tumbling check, let's put it that way.
Alright then, I'll roll. I draw my sword then. 10.
Alright, you go at 10. The figure sees you. It's dark outside. Probably can't even actually tell that you're wearing armor right now because of the darkness and whatnot. So it gets up and makes a lunge at you with the knife, which is a wild miss. Not even hitting your arm, your body.
Okay. Does this guy look small?
Smaller. I mean, everyone looks small to you. It's an average-sized human.
All right. I guess then I'm going to try and restrain him instead of stabbing him.
Okay.
Since he seems woefully unprepared for this fight.
Yeah.
So I will just make a straight. Oh no.
Yeah, it doesn't go so well. You take a grab at them and just fumble completely, tripping over a rock in the night and stumbling forward. I think at this point, the target catches on that you are huge and well armored, and we'll roll initiative for the next round, and they go at 4.
Okay. Is it 3 to try and grab him?
Yeah.
A dagger is what? 2.
2.
I mean, it doesn't make sense that I draw my dagger. I mean, I try and grab him again.
Okay.
Although I've still got my sword, I try and grab him with my left hand.
Sure.
Oh, it's a street 20.
We'll call it a 9. Just drop the 10 in place.
Okay.
The figure bolts into the night.
Giving me an attack opportunity, right?
If you take it.
Can I take it non-lethally
No.
at -4 or something to hit?
Yeah, I guess you could try a non-lethal blow.
Or to trip him up or something?
No, it would be a regular attack, but you'd be hitting with the flat of the blade, so it'd be like a -4 to hit, I think, is how we do non-lethal, and then...
Yeah, because I cold shot his legs kind of deal and try and trip him as he runs.
Sure.
Okay, so -4 is going to be -1 to hit. No, just going straight D20. 18.
So -4 +2 for back attack and all that jazz, right?
I'm already counting the -4, so it'd be
Okay.
D20 +2, so it'd be 20.
Aren't you second level? Shouldn't you have +3 to hit? 2 from
yeah,
strength?
2 from strength, 1 from specialization, and 1 from level.
So that'd be +4, and then -4 for, and then +2 for back attack, so it should be like a 20 total.
Yeah, 20, yeah.
Okay, cool. You double crit the target with AC 10.
Alright, I mean, he falls over.
Yeah, but the problem is that you're so freaking strong that even your non-lethal attempt might actually kill him outright.
Okay, well, it's about to have a broken leg.
Yeah.
18.
No, there's no broken leg here. It's like, maybe it is a broken leg, but it's like a mortal wound. Like you accidentally shatter a leg and then they fall over and part of the leg juts up into the like hip bones, and there's a lot of like internal bleeding, actually external bleeding, because the bone's like jutting out, and there's a faint cry of like suffering, and then it goes quiet pretty quickly.
All right, I search his coat or whatever he's wearing for clues.
Okay. As you flip the body over to start searching for clues, you recognize that it is a woman, not a man. The person has no semblance of armor whatsoever. They've just got the one dagger on them. There's a makeup kit in there, as well as a set of lockpicks tucked away in their coat, and nothing else. No coins, nothing. It just looks like break-in tools and things to muck up their face.
Does it look like she died instantly, or is she struggling in pain? For a few
like
minutes.
a 5 or 6 second death.
Yeah, because I'll cut her throat if she's dying slowly.
Yeah, she had 7 HP, so you brought her down to more than -10, so she's definitely dead pretty quickly.
Okay. So I wipe off my sword. I assume there's some blood on it. I sheath it, and I want to head back into town and try and find a guard. I leave the body where it is.
Sure. You head back into town, and you find guards patrolling the streets, talking. They're in groups of 2. They've got leather armor, spears, daggers.
Okay, I go up to one of them and say, "Good men, my name is Cal Marshall. Would you please accompany me for a moment?"
They nod, salute, and follow.
As we're walking, I say, "I found a suspicious character trying to climb the walls of a friend of mine, and attempted to apprehend them, but I'm afraid it didn't go too well for them." And I take them up. I take them to the body.
Okay. By the time you get there, some of the other people from inside the house have come out and, wondering what happened to William. And there's a small gathering around the dead body with lanterns shining on it. They call out to you guys as you approach. Who goes there? Until they see who you are.
It's me. I look to Richard. Does he look upset?
He looks nervous. He's pacing back and forth.
Okay.
Wringing his hands behind his back.
So, if it seems his major concern is not getting in trouble, I try and take command of the situation, and I say, "I found this lady climbing the walls to your estate and peering through the windows. They have suspicious items on them. I'm afraid she took a nasty wound in my attempt to apprehend her."
The guards look her over, check for any sort of signs of life, and yep, she's dead.
The wound, though, it looks, she's not been run through by a longsword, right?
Right.
Her leg's broken, so
yeah.
I explain what happened, and I say I found I think she's got some lockpicks on her and various camouflage things. Makeup.
Well, not surprising. We've had a increased issue with thieves and criminals in the last 6 months or a year.
Really?
Yes.
You think it's an organized group?
Sudden spike in crime? Sounds like organization to me. It's a shame this one's dead. We would love to know who it is they're working for and what it is they're doing. They seem to be targeting merchant ships, though.
Could you give me a moment? And I walk back and step over to... this is... Penesis is under Solwick's rule, right?
Yes, it is part of the county of Solwick.
I take Richard to the side and say, Richard, I'm not sure how pressing your travel plans are or how far the hospitality of our hosts extends, but while we're here, I wouldn't mind taking some time to look into this for the princess's benefit. I could do with making some official use of my time while we're here.
He nods. We should leave tomorrow, but this seems big enough that we can delay another day. Do you need more than a day?
Let's a day should do. Let's see what I can get done. Thank you, and I hope I didn't interrupt your business too much.
No, this is exactly what I brought you along for. Sort of thing.
So I walk away from Richard and head back to the guards, and I say, I'm traveling currently, but I can afford to spend a few days in town. I'd love to extend the hand of the crown and provide some assistance in this matter while I'm here.
The guards nod. We'd be happy to have a man of your rank assist us with this investigation.
If your commander is still around, I would speak to him.
Of course. They go to pick up the body, and as they do so, one of them steps back and goes, "You smell that?" The other guard comes over and gives a bit of a sniff, and they confer for a moment between each other, and then approach you and say, "There's a particular odor on this one. It smells like there's a brewery in town. They do wheat ales instead of barley. It has a particular smell to it, and it smells like this person was drinking wheat ale very recently."
That's interesting. Well, perhaps we can go and visit that tavern or that brewery. So I turn to the guests of Richard, or our hosts and Richard, and I say, "I'll be going with the guards here to investigate this issue, but I trust that you'll be able to continue your business in my stead, or in my absence."
Of course.
It's nice to meet you all, and I go and shake the hands of the men and kiss the hands of the women.
They accept.
And I asked Richard quietly if we were meant to be staying with them tonight, or if we have an inn.
I was going to stay on the ship, but we can arrange whatever you need.
No. The ship's fine. I'll see you there later. All right, and then I turn and head back with the guards.
Okay.
I let them carry the body.
Yeah, they take the body back to a church in town for proper burial and all that jazz. And when that detail's finished, they look to you.
All right. I would speak with your captain to exhaust the information we have on these ragamuffins.
They bring you to their captain, a man by the name of Rod.
Captain Rod.
Captain Rod.
Captain Rod, my name is Kel William Marshall. I work for Princess in Solwick.
He gives you a salute and then reaches out to shake your hand.
Welcome
aboard. Welcome to Pernissus.
I caught a thief, or at least a suspicious character, peering over the walls of my business associate's estate. And I'm told that you have a problem in town?
The guards hand over the thieves' picks and the disguise makeup kit. And Captain Rod nods and says, "We have been having some issues with thievery. Not individual citizens' homes being burglarized so much as large quantities of cargo going missing, being stolen, a few murders here and there, attempted assassination a few months back."
It's grave deeds. Trade is the backbone of the kingdom, and it's of utmost importance that we facilitate its happening. So, tell me what you know.
Most of the problems occur down by the docks. We don't have any solid leads, otherwise I wouldn't be just standing around waiting for some knight to show up and solve things for us.
Of course.
Unfortunately. We've been trying to determine where these people work from, but they're quite clever, and it's hard to follow footprints on a busy dock that has no dust or dirt or mud. So we're more or less out of luck right now.
Well, your men smelt the odor of wheat beer on the assailant. I'm told that there's a certain brewery in town where this is made.
Nods. Yes.
Perhaps I'll start my search there. Tell me, if I were to wander in there in my armor and my full regalia, would I put off the patrons from talking?
I think a little intimidation goes a long way in getting ordinary folk to speak up. And those who are less likely to speak up, well, I think that'll tell you who your suspects are.
Very well. What time of night is it?
It's 2 hours after sundown. And it is spring, or almost spring, so nights are still longer than days, so it's probably like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Oh, okay, right. So this place will still be open then.
Definitely.
All right. So I nod at them and say, "I'll check in with you in the morning."
Mm-hmm.
And I wander out of the guard station.
Sure. The brewery in town that produces this wheat ale is called the Goblin's Grog. Goblin's Grog.
Goblin's Grog. Okay. Am I to understand that this is a brewery that is also a tavern?
Yes.
Okay. So I will head over to the Goblin's Grog.
Right. You find the Goblin's Grog. Lights are on inside. People are laughing and jostling back and forth. The bartender is a plump woman cleaning a clean glass with a dirty rag. And looks good.
So when I walk in, I scan the room for suspicious characters. But here's my play on it. What I'm going to do is I figure that any evildoers in here are going to be suspicious of someone walking in chainmail, right? So I scan the room, I turn around to walk to the bar, and then halfway, it's a casual walk to the bar. Halfway, I spin back around on my heels and look for anyone who's watching me.
Why don't you give me a perception check?
Yeah. 19.
All right, that's not very good. The bar is pretty crowded. You do catch many people looking at you. You're an armed and armored knight in a civilian's pub, so most of the eyes in the tavern are on you, and I think it's hard to figure out if anyone's acting suspicious when so many people are staring.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So I turn back around and head to the portly landlady.
She comes over and immediately starts filling a mug and sets it before you without even asking, and says, What can I do for you, Lord?
Thank you. Have you seen a young lady? And then I give a description of this person. She should have been here recently, tonight.
I have seen a young lady by that description.
And who is she sitting with?
Perhaps we should speak in the cellar.
Of course, yes. I follow her down to the cellar.
Down in the cellar, which is lit by lantern light, she wrings her hands a little nervously and says, that young lady was sitting with a group of people who are still here. I didn't want to point them out in public.
Of course, wise. Do you know anything of these people?
New folks in town. They come here a lot. They spend a lot of money. Great customers.
Okay.
Is everything okay?
Yes, everything should be fine for you. I don't intend to cause you any trouble. And I say, these people, where were they sitting and how many were there?
The group is about 10 big. Today I only see 6 after the young miss left. I think they're a group of merchants that have arrived recently.
Very well.
I don't know too much about them.
Okay. Thank you for the information. And I go to leave the cellar.
Okay. She leaves and immediately veers away from you and goes and talks to other customers.
So I go and sit down at the bar and finish my drink. And after 5 minutes, I'll cast another glance over the room and try and spot this table of people.
Sure enough, that table of people is there. The descriptions match the rudimentary descriptions she gave you. and two of them are looking your way. And as you give a glance around the room, they immediately take their glance away.
Okay, I finish my drink, and I stand up and pay the landlady for my tab, and leave. And I will I try and get a look at that. They're trying to remember their faces.
Sure.
Right. And I want to... Is there another bar across the street?
There is not another bar across the street, actually.
What is across the street?
It's houses. Yep. This is a bar located in a fairly residential area. There's no other businesses around.
Okay. Then I want to go and, like... Apparently, like, people... do people go outside to smoke? They don't, do they?
No, they smoke inside. It's an uncivilized time.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm going to stand outside the wall for 15 minutes, like just out, like off to the side of the entrance of the bar.
Sure.
And if anyone comes out, I'll apprehend them. Or if after 15 minutes passes and no one leaves,
why don't you give me a perception check here? I know it's not one of your better stats.
It's certainly
William's not built for investigating crimes.
No, maybe I should have gone. Oh, yes.
Oh my god. All right. So you're standing outside. The noise from within the bar is deafened somewhat. And you hear what appears to be a side or a back door to the tavern opening and closing. You can hear the music from inside kind of grow in volume and then dissipate again with the sound of the door.
Yeah.
It's just around the corner from where you are.
Okay, so I turn around the corner at a quick pace, and I'm sort of jogging, right? But I can't...
You see one of the six people that was sitting at the table.
Okay, what is he doing?
She has just stepped out of the door and looks to the side as you come jogging around the corner and stops in place.
Okay.
Looks away and starts walking away.
So if she hesitates, if she doesn't turn and run immediately, I'll stop running. And I take a few more steps towards her and say, excuse me, could I have a word, please?
She freezes in her tracks and turns to face you. Yes?
Those men, those are the people you were drinking with.
Yes.
Are they friends of yours?
What business is it of yours?
I'm a knight of the crown. I'm investigating a crime.
Oh. Well then. Business associates.
Would you mind accompanying me to the town guard's offices for discussions, please? These streets are not official. Are not the right location for this kind of discussion.
She nods her head slowly. Of course, I would be happy to accompany you.
Okay, so I go to grab her by the hand, and I lead her back towards the... And I'm not going to hold her hand the whole way, but I let her walk in front of me. And I'm ready for her to try and bolt, and I'm just going to grab her the second that she tries to pull anything.
She walks alongside you the whole way there.
Okay, I get her into the building.
There is Captain Rod, along with one other man-at-arms hanging out.
This lady here knows the deceased.
Oh, I see. Welcome, miss. What did you say your name was? She gives her name as Heather and sits down uncomfortably between the two authority figures here.
I say, would you be able to identify a body for us? I think that maybe you knew her.
Of course. Who?
Well, you can tell me. And I lead her to I don't know, wherever the dead body is.
Yeah, there's a temple nearby where the body is being prepared for funeral rites.
Yeah.
And sure enough, as you walk in, it's very apparent on her face that she knows the deceased. There's a pause as the body comes into view, and then a look towards you and towards Captain Rod. Oh my. What happened?
Did you know this person?
Yes, we were We were
Business
acquainted.
associates.
Yes.
And what was her name?
Jane.
Jane. And when did Jane arrive?
I couldn't say. She didn't arrive with me.
Very well. I'm afraid to tell you that your friend Jane died on the wrong side of the law.
Really? I find that difficult to believe.
She was attempting to break into the house of a rich merchant in town.
Which one?
I give the name of the family that Richard was going to see. You aware of anything like that?
She shakes her head. Certainly not. Trade was her area of expertise.
Trade.
Yes. She was a translator for our group.
You're a group, are you?
A company, let's call it.
Company. And are you in charge of the company?
No, sir.
Would you be able to introduce me to the owner or the leader of your group?
Of course. We would be happy to comply with any request from the law. Perhaps
Okay.
I should arrange something for tomorrow in a more formal setting.
No. Are they still at the tavern? Maybe we could go there right now.
Wouldn't you prefer if all the officers of the company were present?
Well, I can meet with the rest of them tomorrow. Let's go. And I go and whisper to Rod, and I say, can I spare a couple of guards to come with me in case this gets ugly?
I'll come along myself.
All right. So I want them to wait outside the tavern. And I show one to the side exit and two out the front, and I'll go inside the tavern with Jane and go and take a seat at that table.
Sure. Before you get there, she has a question for you while you're walking along the way. How did Jane die?
Unfortunately, my apprehension of her went a little bit southward, and she took a nasty fall.
I see.
Were you close?
Not particularly, no.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss either way. It's never nice when people die, even if it's deserved.
Deserved, right. And you said that she was breaking into a house?
That's the way I saw it, yeah. Climbing over the wall, carrying thieves' tools.
Thieves' tools, my.
You wouldn't know anything about that, though, would you?
As I said, translator. She was a translator for the company. Speaks Akubin, Matavan, Eridonian, Mystrian, and a few of the sub-race languages. A little bit of Orc or Goblin here and there. You know, just things that she's picked up in her life as a mercenary.
That's a valuable tool.
Yes, I'm sure the others will be quite disappointed to hear of her death. What were you doing at this house, if you don't mind my asking?
It's a family business.
Let's see. And you said you were a knight.
That's right. Look, I'm not here to answer your questions, unfortunately. Let's get a move on.
You guys make it to the tavern. The captain of the guard stands out front with and posts two other soldiers by the side or back exit.
Yeah.
And the two of you head back into the tavern.
All right. I just go and, I mean, I don't know if they probably see me coming, but I beeline to that table and take a seat.
Okay.
And
So does Nancy. I'm sorry.
I have
yeah, Nancy's her name, right?
Yeah, Jane's the dead one. Sorry.
Right.
So I think I've got my sword at my hip, and sometimes if the chairs are too low to the ground, right, you have to take your sheath off your belt, otherwise it'll scrape on the ground. So I remove my sheath and place it across the table and sit down.
That's a whole belt together. You take the sword and the belt together off because you've got a separate sword belt from your pants belt. But yeah.
Makes sense. So I do that. I put it along the table in front of me, and I sit down. And I say, gentlemen, ladies,
And who do we have the honor of speaking to? Says one gruff man with a big red beard.
I say, I'm a knight of Solwick.
Oh, fancy pants, aren't we?
Yeah, watch the tone, please.
There's a smirk passes between the people at the table.
I take a look. Are they armed?
You know, they have daggers on, and one of them, the man who spoke up with the red beard, has a very long knife. You know, it's that middle ground between knife and short sword. Not quite long enough to be a sword, but definitely too long to be a knife.
Like a stiletto or something?
Something in that ballpark, like an oversized Bowie knife. Stiletto's a little pointy.
Okay, I say, I'm visiting town with my father-in-law. Goes by the name Richard from Thickleglade. Do you know this man?
Ah, I believe I have heard of Dickard, and there's kind of a joke, a little bit of laughter that pops up between the other people there.
All right, well, I let that pass. I say, your associate Jane. I caught her trying to break into Richard's business partner's estate. Serious crime.
It sounds like it. She should probably be arrested and put on trial.
Well, she's dead, I'm afraid.
Really?
So, given that she was just with you earlier tonight, I'm hoping that you may be able to fill me in on some of the details.
I wouldn't be able to do that. I have no idea why she would be over there. Must be some personal business.
I thought you might say that. Well, I look around and I say, you with the beard, you seem like the leader of the operations here.
I am the chair of the company.
Do you have an office in town?
We conduct our business in plain sight.
Why, in the tavern?
Yes.
It's, I've known a few merchants in my time, and they tend not to run their business from the tables of a look around, a cheap tavern like this.
Well, those people have more money than sense then. Why build offices when you can use a public office? Cheaper.
For a public face to command respect in the community. Unless you're not looking to have a public face.
As long as it's not looking like your face, I think I'll be quite okay.
All right. What did you say your name was, Redbeard?
I didn't.
Well, what is it?
Nicholas. Nicholas Redbeard is what they call me.
Despite your nice name, I've taken a disliking to you. I stand up and I say, I'd like to question you if you'd accompany me.
Am I under arrest?
You could be.
Well, until I am, I think I'll sit here, comfortably.
Okay. Well, does he sit back down?
I don't think he's ever stood up.
Okay, so I take my sword belt and I reattach it to my waist, standing up in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I go to like, I don't know, like walk past them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then as I go past him, I grab him by the shirt and like knock his chair backwards over.
All right, he falls to the ground with a heavy thud.
And then in the same action, I'm gonna like grab him by the chest and sort of like drag him out the front door.
Sure. The music stops, the tavern goes quiet as everyone sees you dragging this guy out. And as you do so, he starts yelling at the other people in his company in a language you don't understand. But starts yelling at them, and they start moving and making for the back door.
Okay, good. So I drag him out I drag him out the front.
Okay.
And then
out the front they go, and there is Captain Rod.
Okay, I say, Rod, keep hold of this one.
Okay.
And then
he does so.
I draw my sword and run around the side of the building.
Okay. The 2 guards at the other side have successfully barred the door from people trying to barge out, and they see you coming around.
Good work. Go and assist Rod at the front.
They do it, and as soon as they let go of the door, it throws open, and the 4 other people begin to pour out, but stop seeing you standing in their way.
In a rush, are we?
They begin to slowly step out and scoot along the edge of the wall, spreading side to side.
So I take a step back and I suggest you all surrender immediately.
Done nothing wrong.
Then surrender and you'll be fine.
2 people go to take daggers out of their belts and drop them on the ground. 2 others just bolt. One to the east, one to the west.
All right, I take attacks at these. I mean, I get 2 attacks of opportunity, right? I think.
Yeah, you can make attacks at both of them. I think they're close enough.
Okay, we're going. I mean, do they deserve to die? I don't know. Are they? They're not armored, are they?
Nope.
So I will attempt to do non-lethal damage like last time.
Okay.
Back attack again.
Yep.
All right, so it's +2.
Yep.
17 and 5.
Well, 17 will hit.
Just hit, or
Yeah, it doesn't clear by 10.
That's good. So 6 damage.
You knock that person out cold.
Okay, and
the
then
5 is a miss, and the person is gone.
But the other 2 surrender.
Yes.
Okay. So I will lead the 2 people in front of me back to the front of the building and drag the knocked out one with me.
All right. They all are rounded up and arrested promptly. Ropes are put around their arms and hands. And the 1, 2, 3 conscious people and the 1 unconscious person are dragged back to the headquarters.
Okay, I'm walking there and I'm thinking, if this was modern day, this would definitely be police brutality and much overstepping the law, but I feel like I can get away with it, so...
Yeah, well, more so than that, this is kind of the way that life has to be run. There's no modern surveillance, there's very few police officers, this is the only way to keep order in this time. By modern standards, it's brutal, but that's just the way life is. Life is way more brutal in this time period, so it's totally legit.
Yeah, okay, so we drag him back and I hold Redbeard, so Nicholas. Nicholas is, as we're walking, and I want to ask him. I search him down first. I'll search his pockets as we're walking. Stop, push him into a wall, and search him.
Give me a perception check, or a searching check of some sort.
A searching check.
Yeah.
Okay. 14.
Not so great, but you have him kind of held up against the wall, so I'll give you some nice bonuses there. He has a small book on him, a quill, some ink. There's a scroll case at his side with some parchment wrapped up in it. He's got a purse, a drawstring purse with some coins. There is some wax and a seal and a little spoon for melting wax in. All those signs of a business that is conducted off of his person.
Yeah. Is there any evidence that he might be trying to forge documents? I'm not sure how I'd tell that. Maybe there's, more than one seal or something. Maybe he's created fake seals of different businesses.
All that you find on him is just the one seal. You'd have to take a look at the documents themselves, but that should be done in a lit room, so you can actually take a look.
Yeah, so I'm worried that the one that got away is going to attempt to hide any evidence of wrongdoing.
And I think it's at this point, while you're searching him, you realize that you've got him and the 2 other people that surrendered and the unconscious person, but Nancy has also vanished at some point in the scuffle.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. Nancy's small fry. This guy seems like the leader, so I'll accompany... I feel like the town guard need me to safely bring these people, right? Because otherwise there'd be too many of them. So I want to escort everyone back to the jail.
You escort them all back, and they're all tossed in the one big jail cell that they have here in the sheriff's station. There are proper dungeons somewhere else, but this is the holding cell in town.
Okay. So once they're in there, I go up to the. I get them to open the door, open the cell. Is there seats in the cell? Is it quite big?
It's 8 by 8.
Okay,
no
so
seats.
never mind. I don't open the door. I go to the bars and ask Nicholas to come and talk to me.
Sure. They will toss the folks in the jail cell right away then. Don't want anyone escaping anyhow. Nicholas will step outside to speak with you.
No, he can come to the bars.
Right.
Yeah, I do mean Nicholas, but he can come to the bar.
Yeah.
The bars, Look, I haven't had time to go through all your documents yet, but this will go easier for you if you tell me the truth and are upfront. What are you up to? Why are you spying on Pearson's house? What problem do you have with Richard?
I ain't done nothing wrong. Me and my people are just honest businessmen trying to make a living in a world that don't like us.
Well, look, you've insulted me personally. You've insulted my father-in-law. These, I go in close and I whisper. These town guards here, they've got, they're bored. They're looking for someone to hang. If I give them the word, you're destined for the gallows. So.
For what crime? I haven't done anything.
I shrug.
He stands back and narrows his eyes at you. You wouldn't dare.
I guess I'll have to read through your documents then. And I take a step back and sit down at a desk and start looking through these papers.
They are all written in another language.
Oh, right.
Or maybe it's not maybe it's not even a language. Maybe it's a cipher. It's completely unintelligible.
But they were speaking another language, weren't they? They were speaking another language as well, weren't they? Can I roll an intelligence check to see if it was like Elven or something?
Sure.
And it's like, because I've got script as well. No. Yes.
You are well educated enough. Maybe you can't speak these other languages, but you're educated enough to understand, to at least be able to recognize Matavan or Eridonian or Mistrian or Akuban or Elven, and what they were speaking wasn't any of those. Definitely no civilized language that you've ever heard.
That's strange.
Yeah.
I go to Rod and say, it seems that these documents in their language they're speaking in, it's no common language of the kingdoms of Arcadia.
Well, isn't that convenient for them? Keeping notes and discussing things in a way that no one else can understand, spying on important trade houses of the area, or trading businesses of the area, running from the guards, running from knights.
It's mighty suspicious.
I think it's a little bit more than suspicious. I think we might have found the operatives who have been causing problems on the docks.
And I whisper, what would be their fate in Penissus? Or do I know that? What kind of punishment would there be for this?
So if you opt not to pass judgment on them here, the proper procedure would be Captain Rod would take them to the Baron of Pernissus, who would then decide to judge their fate, and if he wanted a capital sentence or something like that, he would probably go to the Princess of Solwick herself, because barons aren't really supposed to give out lethal sentences.
Yeah.
That aren't in self-defense or something. But, supposed to, that's kind of a loose rule.
So I kind of represent the princess, right? I'm thinking back to Hardcore Heroes when the Baroness Valmont executed those people and Tyrus rebelled against her.
Yeah.
Would it be massively out of order for me to say that these people should be hung?
Not massively out of order, no. Especially since it's not innocent people that are being hung for minor crimes. We're talking espionage, significant amounts of theft, grand theft, I think we would call it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think what I want to do, is there another room in the building?
Yeah, there is.
I want to one by one take the prisoners into a room and sit them down and talk to them.
Okay. Do you want to leave Nicholas for first or last?
Last.
Okay. All right. So you have 2 other people and 1 unconscious person who will come around eventually. The other people are 1 male and 1 female.
Yeah.
So you have Anna and Jeff and Nicholas.
Okay.
First up is Jeff.
All right. So I sit Jeff down in this room, and I sit opposite him. Jeff. Look, I'm going to need some information from you.
I know exactly what you need to know.
I'm
happy to tell you.
All these documents, they're written in some weird language. Well, what is this language?
It's a custom cipher. Custom language.
Seems a bit devious for a legitimate business.
Well, business may be legitimate, but it's not always what people are happy to hear about. Sometimes it's better not to make things public.
And what is your line of business?
Getting people to your mom's house. These are documents and maps that will lead them right to her.
I backhand them across the face with my gauntlet.
He falls to the ground and gets back up to his chair, revealing a semi-toothless grin. Clearly he's been knocked around before.
That was pretty funny, Jeff, but that's your first and last warning. Look, if you don't crack, one of those women that you've got with you will crack. So I suggest that you speak up now and avoid the hangman's gallows while you've got the chance.
You know, that document in your hand right there is about your mother's crack. It's a good one. You want me to translate it for you?
All right, so I want to rough him up. I push him back into the wall, and I'm going to punch him in the stomach. Knock him around until he's on 1 HP.
Yeah, you can knock him around a whole bunch. Let me give him some checks here.
Yeah. Son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, he's doing great. At the end of it, he's barely caught. He's wheezing, hanging over the chair. There's a little bit of blood coming from his mouth. He's missing another tooth. But he just kind of gives you a sly grin and goes, "Is that the best you got, you fucking ape?"
For now. And is there another jail cell if I want to keep them separate?
No, there's just the 1 cell here in Pernissus. They're gonna have to probably expand their jails pretty soon, though.
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw Jeff back in. And now I'm gonna take Nicholas. Actually.
Alright, you drag Nicholas into the room. It's got some blood spatters on it. There's a tooth on the floor. Jeff clearly wasn't in a very good condition when he was put back in the cell.
Yeah.
So, is this the long arm of the law?
Says something like that, yeah. I've got better things to be doing than beating up cowards like you. I make a living killing orcs and slaying monsters, not beating up, second-class thieves guilds. So I suggest you talk before I lose my patience with the whole lot of you. If you talk, I can extend you some mercy.
I'm convinced we've still done nothing wrong, and you've got us all mixed up in something else.
You're awfully naive, my friend, because I'm not sure that really matters whether you've done anything wrong or not, if I think you have.
All right, Mr. Big Shot. What do you want to know?
So why don't you try and convince me? Why was Jane spying on that house?
I don't think she was spying on that house.
Well, what was she doing then?
Maybe she was lost and looking for directions. I don't know, but Jane's a translator. She speaks many languages. There's no real reason for her to be sneaking up on anyone, doing anything. In fact, considering our line of business, I'm not entirely convinced that you're not here just to rough up your father's opposition.
What is your line of business? What do you trade?
Import-export.
Oh yeah, import-export. Next you'll be telling me you're in the garbage business.
We trade all sorts of things, you know? Nothing in particular. Whatever can be imported and exported, whatever we can make a penny on.
Well, you must understand that any legitimate business would have documents to back up recent deals and things that have been traded.
You have them in your hands.
Well, unfortunately, I can't make head nor tail of this cipher of yours.
Well, as you said, it's difficult to do business in public, so this is how we keep our business deals to ourselves.
Well, if you've got nothing to hide...
Look, we both know what's gonna happen here. You're here to protect Papa's business interests, aren't you? Get rid of the up-and-coming competition so the, grand merchant can keep his profits intact. Just do what you're gonna do.
Just give me the cipher, and if you're innocent, you can walk free. You've got no reason to keep this hidden from me.
It would take you weeks to decipher these things. I'll just read them to you.
Okay, I hand it to him.
All right, he pulls a document that looks like a list and starts reading what seems to be a cargo manifest.
All right, I want to, does it seem like he's making it up, or does it?
Give me a charisma check while you eye him.
Yeah.
You fucking don't. Yeah, you're used to killing orcs. He's just reading a list of merchandise, and your eyes are starting to glaze over, and you're remembering to when you were listening to your father tell your brother about how to run a thing, and then you realize, oh shit, he's halfway through the list. What was he just saying? I don't even fucking know. It's that 7 a.m. math class again.
I tune back in for the second half. He's just reading a list of mundane trade deals.
Yeah. I mean, there are things of minor interest in here, like 60 gems of this type, and this sort of armor from this sort of place. Blah blah blah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be all in order. I hand him the next document.
This is a payroll list, and he names 12 people on the list, including Jane, and discusses how much they get paid, which is maybe a little surprising. They're all fairly well paid. They're all making similar salaries to you.
Ain't that the shit? It's a good wage for a translator. Well, maybe not the translator, like for, someone who hauls goods.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, why would you pay Jeff that much?
We find that happy employees are good employees, and with the business savings from not owning any property in town aside from a warehouse, we feel that we can afford to pay our employees a little bit better.
Oh, so you just thought you'd pass all the wealth around to the little guys? Some sort of filthy communist. So okay, so then, well, that's unusual business practice.
But so not illegal.
Not illegal, no.
No.
All right, I mean, I intend to keep this up for like an hour. I hand him the next document,
All right, so it goes document after document, and they all do seem on the up and up. They all seem fairly legitimate. There are a few curiosities, like how well paid these people are. The fact that they only have one warehouse in Pernissus and not any in any other towns.
Oh, so they've got a warehouse.
They do have a warehouse. They also don't seem to own any ships. There's no, on the list of, goods owned by the company, there aren't any ships in just the one warehouse, which seems a little weird for an import-export company.
Yeah.
Is there any records?
Is there records of deals done with specific other companies?
Nope. Sorry. We tend to do our deals, and once they're done, why bother keeping a record of them? It only helps to serve our enemies who might be looking around for our business deals.
How do you prove how much tax to pay?
we just pay the right amount. We were just honest.
I see. Is there any record of like ships that they took, like specific ships on specific dates? Is there anything that I could try and?
No, there are like zero documents regarding business deals or specific trade partners.
Okay, so this is pretty light on details of what you actually do, Nicholas. I see a lot of people getting paid a lot of money that doesn't seem to be earned anyhow.
It's not illegal to run a business poorly.
Well, what was the last deal you made?
The last deal that we made was yesterday, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of iron ore that we had picked up from Eridon. And, well, we have it. It just arrived by ship. It's sitting in our warehouses right now, looking to be passed off onto an eager business partner.
Does this eager business partner have a name?
Haven't found the right person for the sale yet. Asking around, seeing who would pay what for it before we close anything.
So the warehouse, is there an address for that?
Yes, it's down on the docks.
Okay, so I think that's my next port of call, and I will, I throw... do I want to punch Nicholas or not? No, I leave him unpunched for now. I throw him back in the cell.
Okay.
And I take the same 2 town guard with me, and I head to the warehouse.
As you approach the warehouse, you can see a light on inside of it, and what appears to be people shuffling boxes from the inside of the warehouse down the dock towards a ship.
How many people does it look like?
8.
Okay. I tell the 2 town guard to round up the people moving the boxes and like round them up for questioning, and I head into the warehouse itself on my own.
Okay. You get to the warehouse, and there is Nancy there. She's got a clipboard in hand, or the medieval equivalent of a clipboard, and is making check marks as a couple extra burly dockhands are hauling crates out of the warehouse. The doors are all open.
Do these, he listed me all the people on the payroll of the company. Mm-hmm. These dockhands seem to be not on the payroll, right?
No, you had specific names and specific positions, and they were all like important positions. There was no list of like generic dockhand help.
Okay, so maybe they'll prove to be more forthcoming with information about what they've actually been trading. Mm-hmm. But I approach Nancy, and I make sure to approach with putting myself in between her and the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, Nancy, it seems that you went missing before.
Why? If it isn't Kel... I've already forgotten your name.
Marshall.
Marshall.
Yeah, so, well, all your associates are under the hospitality of the town guard currently.
How hospitable.
Yes. There's a little bit extra room in that cell, though. What is it you're doing here? And I walk up to her, and I want to look over her shoulder at the thing that she's writing.
It is written in the same cipher as the other stuff. It's just garbage to you. The dockhands have put down the crate that they were lifting and are now just uncomfortably looking at you. I'm just conducting the business of the day.
Is the light coming from this room, or is there like an office or something?
No, it's just a big warehouse, and there's a couple of lanterns hanging on the ceiling attached by ropes that come down to the sides.
So I don't see the person that escaped me before?
No.
Okay, I lead Nancy out to the to where all the dockhands are being rounded up by the town guard.
Okay. As you lead her out, you actually see the town guard is currently trying to force their way up a gangplank of a ship, while the people on the ship are trying to push them back and like move the plank off and like set sail.
Oh, right, okay. So I let go of Nancy and break into a run.
All right. Let's give... Okay, so one of the guards gets knocked off into the water. The other one pushes his way onto the ship, but the ropes have been severed, not untied, but severed from the dock, and the ship is pulling away under the power of a little bit of wind. Not a lot, just enough to slowly start pulling away from the dock.
Okay, so I make a leap for the ship and try and grab onto the edge. Is that that's going to be strength, right? Not dex.
Yeah, that'll be a strength check. Are you wearing your armor?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
You might want to give me a penalty.
Well, I was just wondering what you're going to happen if you fall in the ocean. But go for it. Make your strength check.
That's a good point. Oh my god.
So you make it to the edge of the dock and you give a leap, but just as you go to like push off of your right leg, your knee buckles. And you just like tumble headfirst into the water with a splash. And you begin promptly to sink to the bottom of the harbor.
Okay, I don't know how deep this harbor is. I make as much effort as I can to not drown.
Okay, you don't have a swimming proficiency, do you?
No, but wait, I've got a jumping proficiency though.
Yeah, you still rolled a 1.
Yeah, that's true. I try and climb up the wooden poles that hold up the dock.
Sure. You're right near the docks. You're right next to these pylons. You might not have a swimming proficiency, but you're also super strong and your armor's not going to be that big of a deal for you in particular. So, with time, you can get out for guaranteed. You can escape.
All right. Ego bruised. I make it out of the water.
The other guard that fell in the water is also struggling with you, and the two of you make it out together. But the ship has sailed.
Is there another ship? Is there another ship here?
There's a bunch of ships here, but you know.
I mean, is it feasible to give chase? Because that town guard's gonna die.
You could give chase. You could demand that one of these ships take off after this thing, but that's getting into some pretty dicey territory, legally speaking. But you could probably force the issue. The captain of a ship is in charge of that ship, regardless of who else is on board. So they have like final say over it at all points in time.
Yeah, I think the life of this town guardsman is more important than a legal discrepancy, and I want to pick out the quickest looking ship that's got a crew on it.
Okay. So it's nighttime, and you are trying to find a ship to. Eventually, you do find a ship that has a crew already on it. The captain and the crew are hanging out on the dock or on the deck, main deck, looking at the night sky and swapping stories of this, that, and the other thing. They see you coming on board without being invited, and the captain immediately gets up and swaggers over to you saying, "What the hell do you think you're doing on my boat?"
Captain, I am a knight in the service of the princess. I demand that your ship give chase to those. I will ensure that you are handsomely rewarded.
You want me to go chasing after another ship in the middle of the night?
It's urgent. There is the lives of good men in danger.
He eyes you up and down. And what sort of handsomely rewarded are we talking about here?
What? How much can I? I mean, I assume that I can give rewards on the breadth of the crown, but how much?
You can give rewards out of your own pocket, and then receive reimbursement from the crown if they deem it's worthy. But you can't spend the crown's treasury without their permission.
Yeah, but if I turn up with an invoice for 50 gold, that's going to be crazy. Is 10 gold crazy? Is 100 gold crazy? What's...
So 10 gold is 10,000 copper. So 10,000 copper would be an amount that they would probably ask, how was this really necessary? So you'll probably just have to face an inquisition over your charges and expenses and probably get an earful one way or the other. They'll probably reimburse you, but it might be personally uncomfortable. Yeah.
All right, I'd say 15 gold. If we catch them.
They've already got a head start, and we have to prep the ship. It ain't ready to sail right now. We won't be ready to take off for another 15 minutes.
Well, best get moving then.
He starts yelling orders, and people start trimming sails and pulling up, untying ropes and pulling on boards and prepping the ship for sail.
All right, as that's happening, I shout down to the dock to the remaining town guard. Mm-hmm. And I tell him to apprehend Nancy if she's still there. If she's stupid enough to still be there.
The town guard goes off to do his thing.
And also to, like, if there's any of the boxes left that they were moving, you know, to crack them open and see what's in there and sort of report all this back to Rod.
Sure enough, you get the ship up and running and set off after these other people, but it's dark, and with like a 15-minute lead, it's hard to even spot the other ship, who is running without any sort of lights. I'm going to make a couple of die rolls here for the skill of the pursuers and the skill of the chasers, or the skill of the being pursued.
Yeah, I picked a fast-looking ship, though, as well.
Okay. I think you guys spend an hour trying to chase after this other ship, but eventually it becomes apparent that what you were chasing was a different boat, and that the one that you're looking for is just gone in the night. Just gone.
All right, I sigh. I haven't turned the boat around. Do I have 15 gold on me?
Probably, yeah. That's probably like the extent of your money after you've already paid for these other things. You're not a wealthy man.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I give him 10 gold then. Because I said it was going to be 15 if we caught them. I give him 10.
Well, sorry there, Sir Knight. Can't win them all. But if it's condolences, town guard here are kind of assholes.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't suppose you knew that I point to the warehouse. Do you know what they're up to?
We've worked with them once or twice before, delivered some goods, unnamed goods, clarifies very quickly,
specifically
from Fort.
Unnamed as in by their request?
They just said pick up these pallets and drop them off here, and we didn't ask twice or look inside. Sometimes in my line of work, it's better not to ask questions.
Yeah, I understand. All right, well, thanks for your attempt.
Of course, of course.
I jump off the boat onto the dock.
Okay.
Has the town guard guy, like, is it all cleared away now? Is all of the boxes not moved?
The boxes that were unmoved are still unmoved. They pried them open. It looks like of the 10 boxes that were left, 7 of them had raw iron ore. One of them had some like minor weapon caches, and the other 2 are still being opened.
Okay, well, I'll go over and watch as these 2 are opened.
One of them gets opened and it has like some bolts of cloth, and the other one gets opened and it has some imported drinks, wines and beers and meads and that sort of thing. But as they're going through the penultimate box, they discover at the bottom is a bag of feet.
Halfling feet.
Yep.
New Forte. Oh no, this isn't from New Fort.
Yeah. Yes. No, maybe not this particular shipment.
It's probably from Anvil.
Could be.
All right. Great. So I grab the bag of halfling's feet.
Okay.
And I head back to the the town guard's office.
Okay. Back at the town guard's office, there is Anna, Jeff, and Nicholas. They are all behind bars. Captain Rod is having some soup with one of the men as you approach. He looks up at you. Good news, I hope.
Yeah, partly. Oh, well, actually, I've got some bad news. Do I know the guy's name who the boat went off? Do I know his name? Mm-mm. Okay, they're one of the... Well, when we got to the docks, they were loading some boxes onto a ship, and your 2 guards attempted to apprehend them, and the ship got away with one of them still on board. I attempted to give chase, but I couldn't find them in the night. I fear the worst.
Puts his soup down and pushes it away from him a little bit. Well, one of my guards have died in the process of apprehending these people. That, I think, counts as a murder charge, don't you?
I think so, and there's more than that. And I quiet down, and I want to lead him into the room where I was questioning the others. Mm-hmm. And I show him the bag. Allow me the chance to speak to the girl before we reveal this to the rest of them.
He nods and brings Anna into the room with you.
Anna! I reach into the bag and put one of the halfling's feet in front of her. What's this?
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's a halfling's foot.
Why would you be carrying those around? Are you a fan of superstition?
I went to visit your warehouse down at the docks that Nicholas told me about. I found this in one of the crates that was being loaded onto one of your ships.
Well, someone else must have put that there because we certainly didn't.
Yeah, I'm sure, and I'm sure that the town guard will see it that way as well. You know how this works, don't you? I make the call here, and right now you're all looking real guilty.
Of course I am.
So, do you want to talk?
Sure.
So give me the story then. What's going on here? What are you really up to?
We are an up-and-coming import-export trading company that your father is not a big fan of, and he probably planted the halfling feet in our warehouse. It's our only warehouse, so it's an obvious one to plant things in. And you're the definition of corrupt law enforcement. And we'll probably all get hung for doing absolutely nothing, because that's how it goes.
So out of character, even though that does sound like something that Richard would probably do. At this point, I don't know that.
Yeah, but also, like, how is he, like, where is he going to get halfling feet to place in the warehouse that he somehow knows you're searching? Like,
sure, yeah, you're right.
It's a pretty...
So I say, look, that story doesn't really seem to add up. I only arrived with Richard in this town this morning.
Well then, maybe someone else in the company has some underworld dealings and we're being manipulated by an internal agent.
And
it's quite possible, but hey, if you say that Jane was spying on people and had lockpicks, maybe she's been undermining our business deals, or at least adding on to them her own.
It's a nice story, and maybe that would tie up some loose ends. But look, here's the problem. You see, when I went down to the warehouse, the ship that you were loading these, or that Nancy was loading these crates onto, tried to flee, and one of the town guards who attempted to apprehend them was taken with it. Now, Rod out there, he's very protective over his men, and it's not looking good for old Jimmy sailing away on this ship. He's looking for someone to hang for murder.
I see. Well, I think the ship captain who committed the kidnapping or murder would be the one to hang. I was not involved. I was locked up in jail the whole time. Totally innocent of all wrongdoings. In fact, the worst thing I did today was try and drink some of that piss water that they call wheat ale.
Yeah. All right, well, it seems like you don't want to talk, so I guess you can go back in the cell.
She gets put back in the cell.
And I immediately pulled Jeff out.
He comes staggering over, still wounded from the earlier battle. Looks like you took a bit of a swim.
Don't get smart with me, Jeff. You see those on that table there? Those halflings' feet?
Oh, were those halflings' feet?
Well, that's the children's feet.
A little bit hairy to be children's feet.
Yeah, right.
The hair on these feet reminds me of something, but I can't quite place it.
Don't you dare, Jeff. I'm not sure you've got another punch in you. You want to talk?
Well, the first time I noticed her...
All right, I like, I just like I hit him again and knock him out.
All right, you batter the belligerent man into unconsciousness.
And I drag this guy back into the cell and throw him in, and then pull Nicholas out.
Sure. As you're pulling Nicholas out, there comes a knock on the door, and Richard kind of pokes his head in and goes, Kel William, are you busy still?
Yeah, I'm still a little bit. I throw Richard into the room and speak to one of the guards and say to watch him.
Sure.
And I go outside the front door and talk to Richard. And I say,
how are things coming along?
I'm sorry about this. The investigation took a serious turn. Could you give me a few more hours?
Of course. I just wanted to let you know that our deals were wrapped up and we were heading back to the ship. If there's anything you need, I'm happy to provide any assistance.
Wait there. I go out to the. I go back into the thing, and I want to grab one of the documents. Mm-hmm. And I show him it and say, "Have you ever seen anything like this before?"
It's yeah. He looks at you and looks like he's doing some sort of like calculation in his mind.
Yeah.
Because there are some groups of, hell, you're almost family, smugglers that I have had to talk to before. Only in legitimate deals, but they had worked as smugglers on the side. It can be hard to find good sailors to go to Akuba, relations being what they are. Had to find some unseemly people to do that work for me. And these smugglers or other criminals like to keep their notes in secret like this. I don't recognize this particular cipher, I can't read it, but things like this, it's how smugglers, pirates, people at the bottom work.
That's what I suspected.
You'll keep that smuggler bit between us.
Yeah, of course. I see no evidence of any wrongdoing on your part.
And it was just to trade with Akuba, since no one here will willingly sail there. No, nothing illegal, of course.
I think I'm about ready to wrap up my business here, so I'll see you back on the ship in an hour or two.
All right. He heads back.
All right. I go and relieve the guard in the room with Nicholas, and sit down with him.
All right.
Look, Nicholas, I'm getting sick and tired of questioning you idiots.
I suppose you want me to come clean and confess everything because you're such a good interrogator.
It's up to you. Like I said, I'm done with that. I'm gonna inform the Rod of what I think should be done with a lot of you. Unless something can change my mind.
Yeah. All right. I know how this works. There is a secret stash in the warehouse. I tell you where it is, you let us out, and since no one is dead in the law, we can just leave this whole mess behind us. There should be, tens to hundreds of thousands of copper in there.
And where is it?
You let us out, and I tell you where it is. This isn't the first time I've had to walk this parade.
Look, you've got me wrong here, Nicholas. You're trying to bribe the wrong man. It doesn't fly very well with me, and honestly, I'm offended that you try and bribe me.
Oh, come on. We haven't done anything wrong here, and I know you don't make a lot of money as a knight. I know you do it for the honor, and that the kingdom doesn't really appreciate you in the same way that you would be appreciated in the private sector.
Save me the story, Nicholas. I don't care. Like I said, you can tell me where this stolen stash of wealth is if you want, and maybe it'll encourage leniency on my side. But other than that, I don't really care.
He sucks his teeth for a moment and shakes his head.
I go to stand up. And
see you on the other side then, maybe.
I walk out. I go to Rod and say, well, I'm happy to charge them with the murder of your town guard. They've got these halfling feet in their warehouse that they confirmed to me were theirs. They've attempted to bribe me. And my family member, Richard, ensures me that these ciphers are generally used by smugglers and pirates. I'd say that we've got all the evidence we need.
Well,
I think you can handle it from here.
I'll take him up to the Baroness tomorrow morning.
Why not?
See it done. Good work.
I think there's a couple more out there on the loose, but with that Nicholas captured, I think their operation should be halted.
We'll speak to the bartender, get their names and appearances, find a cleric of Velthara, or track him down.
Sounds good. I shake Rod's hand.
He shakes yours, gives you a salute, and turns back to the prisoners, puts his hands on his hips and says, well, 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 you guys are mine for the night. Let's get started. And,
all right, I leave.
Why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we will deal with the last leg of our journey here.
All right.
All right, see you guys on the other side of a break.